McClelland's theory. This is in fact a very recent theory, going by the history of the theory. This came up in the mid-1980s from McClelland. After being kind of a professor plus a philosopher, he identified human motivation in three characterizations. He made it simple by cutting or dividing each person's characteristics into three particular categories. One, the power; the other, the achievement; next, the affiliation. And he suggested that the managers need to kind of test each employee, ideally the senior or the mid-rank employees, with regard to their preferred mode of motivation. Let's go by the first one, power aspect. So what does he mean by that? HR needs to value, measure the sense of the motivation of each and every the targeted individual. It could be varying, right? Cannot be the same. If we take the aspect of power, the so-called NPOW, that means how much of the sense of power this particular individual has. It focuses on the ability of influencing, how competitive the person is, and how motivated the person is to influence others. And is he a person capable of controlling others by delegating powers and influencing them to get the work done? This ability or the willingness of the person to be in charge, if that is the power motive of the person, well, according to McClelland, this is the category, or this is the characterization that's best suited for leadership. And they're essentially ladder climbers. They're outspoken, open, not exactly emotional, very demanding, not sentimental. They would be willing to engage people. They're not exactly the silent characters. They would depend on the team, but they would always want to lead the team. The feature, they would want others to follow. They would not tolerate disagreement. So one voice, and generally it's their voice. Negatives, they would be rather difficult to develop relationships. They're rather distant from the rest. Take a look at these coaches. That's the best example possible. The coach would essentially would stay in an upper level to the team, and he would be very good at, or essentially brilliant at, kind of guiding, motivating, pushing the team, delegating responsibilities, controlling them, influencing them right throughout. Take a look at all these movies of the coach stories. Early, so something called the Coach Carter, another great movie. So that's the characteristic of a power-based individual. The problem is, if you could do it too much, too further, too hard, you could be too aggressive, authoritative, and then the result could be negative. And the other negative aspect of the power-based individuals with that kind of characteristic is they can easily get frustrated if the results don't come. The next one is achievers. These are essentially primarily individualistic people. They're not exactly the team players. They like to do the work themselves. They like to set the target for themselves. They would have to lead the others, but in skills and capacities and everything, not just by giving them orders. They're basically hands-on people. Love to do the challenges, and they'll have to be in charge of their own destiny. So a company might not be the guide of their own success or the future. They like to set the target for themselves and do it themselves. Preference is working alone, not exactly happy to be team workers. They may not have that much of team sense. They are in teams, but they like to work alone. Whatever the responsibility is given to them, they like to do it themselves. And one thing that an achiever would need is they want to see work having clear results. They may be pushing themselves into doing things that show clear results. Things that do not show clear results, let's say something like imagine a company get-togethers, company social meetings, may not be the things that achievers may be interested in. But what about having a particular marketing goal, particular research goals? Well, achievers may be happy with those things. So 3 people there. Yeah, again, HR need to measure them. Is NACH. There may be different levels of achievement in different people. Yeah, the company needs to give them particular feedback and understand the fact that they are not the people who would want to take too many risks. Achievers don't take too much risk. They would take risk only if it's possible to achieve. Whereas a power-based individual might take risks beyond his capacities, not an achiever. He would not do that. But once he set the goal, after realizing its potential, he'll go after it. Because he would not want to, face failure. He actually fears failure. Might not want to take responsibility for things that he doesn't like. He will only take responsibility for things that he is capable of delivering. That's the problem with an achiever. Whatever they do, they want to be in complete control. They want to be hands-on, micromanaging everyone under their control. So achiever leader is not exactly an easy person to work with, because he would or she would want to boss around the team. And he would want technically to see the team achieve exactly what he wants, and he would definitely show them how to do it. Because achiever would know everything that comes under him. Not exactly the ideal leader who would delegate work and supervise work. He might want to do it himself. Most of the entrepreneurs come from achievers. Actually, that's a key quality of an entrepreneur, being a self-focused person. But the challenge for such a person is to take the next level, how to be a leader. Entrepreneur is fine, but then when it comes to converting himself into leadership, there the achievers may have the problem of having to supervise people, having to delegate work, having to trust people, having to motivate others to get the work done. So there the achievers may have issues, problems. Typical sense that people have about achiever is that they take super risks. No, they don't take risks like that. They take calculated risks only. For example, take a look at sports people. Being athletic or sports, they will never push their bodies into extreme levels. They would know the height, the distance, the speed, the depth they take. They make only calculated risks because they know going beyond what they can do might cause injuries, damages, hurt to them, and might result in them failing. So what you see is, achievers taking little steps along the way, taking very calculated risks. And of course, they're going to see, feedback from the others as to how they are performing. Achievers would tolerate feedback so that they could set the benchmark for their performances. The other category, the affiliation. These are the team people. They're not exactly the leaders. They're good followers. They depend on the relationships and the connection. They don't want to push themselves too much. They would be very, very good at following others. They have the great chemistry in being part of teams. Most of the movies, right, you see these team members supporting the leader. And so they will kind of control their sense of achievement also, right, in order to achieve the team goals. They have the cooperative behavior, right? Ready to follow orders, ready to follow others' advice and ideas. very comfortable with where they are. They don't want to push themselves too hard. They're kind of satisfied with the position they are. What they do is, doing all they can to ensure the teamwork. They are completely unlikely to leave a team. Achievers may leave a team, but not the affiliation people. They value relationships of others, and yes, they would do all out, go all out, in fact, to not to disappoint others. They're very reliable team members. Problem is, they don't test themselves enough. They don't kind of drive themselves enough. They're very happy about the way they are, where they are. They only value themselves, based on how much others like them. They don't want to be rejected. So they may not be the people who will take decisions that others don't like. So an affiliation-oriented leader is a possibility, but such a leader might not be one that will be taking risks, though he is a team player. So that's how it goes. Our achievement affiliation. McClelland's theory, one of the best of the theories to come from the latter part of the 20th century. Catch you in another lesson.